without you knowing about it. Carl Bearden, friend of the show and executive director of United for Missouri, joins us from his secured bunker somewhere in Jefferson City. Good morning, Carl Bearden.
Good morning, McGraw.
So what did this appeals court say yesterday?
Well, the appeals court affirmed the ruling we had gotten in St. Charles County that when St. Charles County put an amendment on the ballot to amend the St. Charles County Charter, which is basically the county constitution that says we can't and won't have red lights anywhere in St. Charles County, including the municipalities, that they did so rightly. And when the voters approved it with a 71% margin, the voters knew what they were doing when they did it. And so the cities had sued, saying that it was irregular and unconstitutional, and the voters didn't know what they were voting on. But the appeals court pretty firmly said, yes, they did, and it is constitutional, and you will not have red light cameras in St. Charles County.
So there will be no more red light cameras in St. Charles County unless it is I guess that charter amendment would be then reversed by the voters.
Right. Yes, it would have to take another vote by the voters to do that. So that's not likely, but. The next thing we would like to see, and there are a few bills. As a matter of fact, one of the new senators from St. Charles County has a bill, as well as a representative from St. Charles County has a statewide ban on red light cameras that hopefully will get passed this year.
Carl, why has it been so hard? It's such an unpopular program. Why has it been so hard for elected officials to not do what the people want and do away with these red light cameras?
It is a great moneymaker for the cities. It costs them no resources. They hire these companies who take a lot of the money off the top, simply send the cities easy money, if you will, just for the sake of taking pictures, and it's easy money to them. And you're right. I mean, we tried telling St. Peter's, for example, who at the time was the only city who was doing red lights, that their people didn't like it, and their people voted a little bit over 71% to reject those cameras, but they insisted on having them, and it's just it's the money issue. That
mayor ended up spending a little time in jail for doing something nefarious with the red light camera companies.
Yeah, it was up in Minnesota, so it was a nice little jail.
Wasn't it? But wasn't the St. Peter's mayor here caught with his hand in the cookie jar?
Yeah, but I'm not sure it was over red light cameras. It was over another issue similar to that.
Oh, something else. Okay.
Yeah. But there has been I think it was in Chicago, where there was a city official that was taking bribes from Redflex, who was the same company that was doing the St. Peter's red light cameras, for example. And so it has happened. And it's happened across the country. As a matter of fact, the CEO of Redflex eventually was convicted, I believe, up in Chicago for offering those bribes.
That's probably a good idea. So where are we with St. Louis City and St. Louis County? I mean, they've sort of been stopped or at least suspended because of court orders, right?
Yeah, so you had addressed it earlier. They found that taking the red light camera pictures without being able to identify the driver is unconstitutional. And so this has been in limbo. It's caused them a lot more problems than it's been worth at this point. And so it is standing in limbo. I think sooner or later we're going to get this statewide ban, and I hope this is the year that we do it. And so the thing about the St. Charles ordinance, and I'll have to look at the new statewide ban, is it wasn't just red light cameras, because what we're also seeing, and we've seen it in the St. Louis area, for example, on 170, the use of speed cameras as well.
Yeah.
Same sort of technology. And so the St. Charles ordinance actually bans any of those enforcement technologies. And so that's really what we need to do, because, it's a Fourth Amendment type thing. You need to be able to face your accuser, and that's why the courts have found these things to be unconstitutional if you're not also being able to be identified and so forth.
I don't want to ask you a question you don't know the answer to, but didn't the city of St. Louis, or aren't they have to reimburse some red light camera fees back to the people who sent them because of some things they collected incorrectly?
And they did after there was some period of time in which they were not capturing, as I understand it, if I recall correctly, where they were not capturing the picture of the driver. And so they were sending the tickets to the registered owner of the vehicle. And then you would have to go down and say, hey, I wasn't driving that car. And so, through all the court cases and so forth, I believe it came out and said, okay, you have to reimburse if you can't prove it was that person driving. And so, as you had mentioned, a number of states are now capturing, and in fact, St. Peter's actually was capturing a picture of the driver.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, if you are not, if you're not responsive to the people you're working for, that being your electorate, and they're saying, we don't believe this is the right way to do it, then you're not serving those people. And St. Peter spent a ton of money fighting this. And if you read the appeals court, it's actually a pretty short deal. We have it up on our website at unitedformissouri.org. They just slammed them on all 4 or 5 counts.
Saying that this is ridiculous and that this was a waste of money. And, interesting.
Yeah.
So at least the red light cameras in St. Charles are gone for good.
Right. And so and the thing about it is, it's a good chunk. We're chopping down this tree, and there's a good chunk of that tree gone, and it's really starting to tilt. What happened in St. Louis City was another chunk, and so sooner or later this tree's going to topple.
Carl Bearden.
Hopefully,
Carl Bearden, thanks for your time. Executive Director of United for Missouri, and that website to read the opinion?
UnitedForMissouri.org.
Carl, have a good day. Thanks for checking in.
You too.
You got it. 726. Big 550 KTRS. We got numbers